Well, hey out there, everybody in TV land. This here's Carl Coltrane coming at you live from Redneck Studios with KarlTV Volume 1, Episode 4. Now, folks, I know it's been a long time since we was on the air together, and, well, I want to start off this episode by apologizing for leaving y'all hanging for the last year or so. I'm sure y'all been sitting there at home flicking on your YouTube channel changers, just wondering, now, where in the dickens is Carl at? Well, folks, truth is, I simply ain't had time to put a show together. I mean, I'm sure I don't need to tell you that battling COVID-19 is basically a full-time job. What with all the sourdough baking, Netflix, and learning to speak Cantonese and DIY button accordion restoration that's been going on. No, sir. There's only so much a feller can do in a day, and, well, I drew the line at internet commentary. Well, until now, that is. You see, folks, up until this point, I've basically seen myself as a team player in the fight against the global pandemic. When the higher-ups told us we had to work together to see this thing through, I agreed with them. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like I wouldn't rather just wipe my hands on my jeans than slather them with sanitizer before entering the local hardware store, or scooch up right close to my pretty cousin Reba at a backyard hog roast. And wearing a mask? Frankly, I'd rather use the outhouse right after Stinky Pete's gone a little overboard on sauerkraut and pickled eggs than wear that thing all day. But for the sake of the greater good, I done it, as I'm sure most of y'all have. And all this talk of conspiracies and infringements on personal rights and freedoms has just been a bunch of hogwash as far as I'm concerned. At least that's what I thought until recently. Now, folks, let me be crystal clear on something. We live in a democratic society and as such elect officials to manage things on our behalf, expecting that they'll keep our best interests at heart. So when they impose speed limits, hunting seasons, or ask us to keep our distance for a while, it's totally within the realm of reasonable. But when they start messing with the essential elements of existence itself, it's time for folks to stand up and say, enough. Now, it's raining outside today, and, well, chances are all this is going to change, but are you all aware of the recent fire ban that's been imposed in our area? Or the water restrictions what's being implemented just a few towns over that's sure to happen here if the so-called experts have their way? Folks, if this ain't a classic example of government overreach and outrageous denial of fundamental human rights, well, I don't know what is. So first off, let's talk about water. The most basic building block of life on the planet. Now, it may come as a shock to y'all that you could survive for about 3 weeks without food, but only 3 or 4 days without water. Now, granted, these water restrictions ain't saying you can't drink, but when they tell you not to fill your swimming pool or water your lawn or keep your tap cracked a smidge just to keep the flow going so as your poorly insulated pipes don't freeze come winter, well, you know it's just a matter of time before they take it all away. And who in the name of Mojave are they getting their so-called expert water data from anyhow? No doubt some fancy hydrologist PhD who don't know a creek from a bayou sitting in his high-rise city office. A feller who no doubt never even watched a video on YouTube about how the water cycle works and how you can't actually use up a drop of water. It's like its own circular economy. It just keeps on coming back like a wet boomerang. Also, as a pure point of interest, water is mentioned no less than 722 times in the Bible, more often than faith, hope, prayer, and worship. Interestingly, boomerangs ain't mentioned at all. And what about fire? I mean, cooking outside over an open flame has been a vital practice of human existence for time immemorial. And they want to put a stop to it? They may as well ask us to stop breathing. I'll have you know that I keep me a used tire fire burning on my property 24/7 all year round. That way, I'm always ready to roast something. I don't have to fiddle with matches in the wind when I want to burn garbage. And it makes finding my place on Google Earth a whole lot easier. Just follow the smoke. Oh, and the government officials say it's dry and I could start other stuff on fire by accident. Well, first off, dry is as dry does, Mr. High and Mighty. And, well, I suppose it's true other stuff could catch fire if I wasn't being careful, which I am. I can see their point, I reckon. But I could also cut off my arm while I'm filleting fish, have a transmission fall on my head that I'm storing atop a stepladder, or crash into someone when I'm jumping driveways with my El Camino. Are they going to ban knives, ladders, and cars next to protect us from ourselves? We ain't in kindergarten, folks. Let us mind our business and you mind yours, like death and taxes and road gravel. Because it's like I always say, when you can't cook with a tire, circumstances is dire. Well, that's all the time we got for KarlTV today. Tune in next time when I'll probably be broadcasting from jail because I don't think I could extinguish that tire fire even if I wanted to. Them tires, they just burn like gas. Anywho, until next time, stay safe and sane. Adios.